together. So I want to give you some program updates. So some of the really exciting things about our program, we just got a grant from the Children's Services Council for almost $100,000, which is allowing us to provide our summer camp as well as a brand new after school program to children for free. And so with the History Camp Summer Garden, we had our summer camp last year. And after that, we continued a part-time after school program. And now we'll be able to continue that great work and do it on a larger scale, which is super exciting. So we will be looking for additional members of our team for our after school program, or perhaps if you're working in the summer and you decide that you would like to join us for our after school program, we would love that. So I want to give you a snapshot on our enrollment. We have 30 children enrolled so far. So 25 of them are enrolled all of the weeks. And then 5 are only enrolled for like 1 to 2 weeks. What we find sometimes with children with autism, their parents want a enrichment program for them, but maybe they don't want to jump in and do the entire summer. And so that's kind of what we're seeing here. I also want to share with you, if you haven't done so already, we have a Facebook page. We also have an Instagram page where you can see a lot of the different activities that we do with our students at Camp Summer Garden. And I actually have a student who is a Florida State student who manages our social media. So she does all of our Facebook, all of our Instagram. And I invite you, like, as you're working with the kids, if you take pictures, to please share them with me so that I can review them to see if the children pictured have a release form. And if so, we can share some of that on our social media. So as I was saying earlier, 12 of our students are actually returning from last year, which is really exciting. And some of those students have actually been a part of our after school program. So they just kind of stayed with us throughout the summer, which has been really exciting. So another thing I want to share with you is just the ages of the kids that we have enrolled. So I'm going to see if you can figure out what's the largest percentage, what grade takes up the largest percentage of our campers.
Fourth grade.
Yep. So we've got a lot of fourth graders. It's really interesting. They make up almost half of our entire population of students. And then there's a pretty much even distribution between the other grade levels. First grade kind of has a bit of a peak where it's a little bit higher, but fourth grade is definitely one of our larger groups. So that's going to be very interesting. And of course, when you look at the age breakdown, it's interesting. So what I found, so you see that fourth grade is the largest group, but when you look at our 9 and 10-year-olds, that's still not quite that 40%. Now, it's close, but not quite. And so it's interesting because some of the kids in our program, some of them have skipped grades or they may be behind a grade. So sometimes the age distribution is a little different than the actual grade distribution, but it kind of shows you who we can expect in our program. Right now, we actually have a waiting list for the program. I am collecting all of the families' enrollments and documents. And usually what happens, we may have 2 or 3 students who may not be able to join us. And so that waiting list, we already have several children ready to take those spots. So we are well on our way to having plenty of children for you to participate with. So I'm going to stop. Do you have any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. So the next part, I'm going to start going through our team member handbook, which I'm also going to send you a copy of this. So I won't necessarily read through all of it, but I'll definitely hit some of the highlights because one part of our introductory training is being familiar with certain things about the program. So you all know from your work with the program or from just your research that you found out, so far, we accommodate children with autism. And not all of our children have autism. However, a large percentage do. But you will find that about 20% of the children in our program have no developmental disabilities. So we are truly an inclusion program. So this handbook is really good because, if you have questions about things, you can always go back and remember. And so one of the things I like to think about at Camp Summer Garden, we plant seeds of growth so all children can bloom where they are. You have a garden. And I say, no, not quite. It's more of a garden of children because we help to nurture and bring out some of the better parts of these kids. We have some amazing children in our program. So we do inclusion and provide enrichment programs. We also provide training. So that's one I love about our program. We let you know what to expect before you have your first day at the camp. And then our program philosophy, one of the things that you will see, we really focus a lot on trying to figure out how to create a learning environment that's going to be most beneficial to children with autism. And when I show you our schedule and some of the different things we do in our program in just a little bit, you'll get an idea of how we're able to plan a program that accommodates children regardless of their needs. And so our philosophy is all about creating an environment where all children can be successful. So that kind of sums up our program philosophy. And so in our program, um, you may be a counselor, an assistant, or a volunteer, but typically people work around 15 to 35 hours a week. And that can vary because we do have volunteers, we have student interns. We're going to have a variety of people with us this year, but you will have an opportunity to work with a variety of people. And so everyone in the program ultimately will report to the director or the assistant director slash lead counselor if you have any questions or if anything comes up. So you'll be working directly with the children and helping them with the different activities that we participate in. And you'll have an opportunity to actually participate in a lot of the programs the children do. I'm going to actually show you our lesson plans in just a little bit so you can see the activities that you'll get to do with them. You'll be getting a lot of guidance from me as well as our lead counselor to help you best support the participants. And ultimately, we want to create a fun, welcoming environment for all of the kids. There will be setup and cleanup, and of course, getting materials for your activities. And if anything ever comes up or if you have questions, you can always contact me or the lead counselor to assist you. And I do want to add one of the primary things about our camp, one of our primary goals is to help the children in our program develop social skills so that they can have very successful interactions with others. Many of the children in our program, they have very good academic skills, but when it comes to social skills, sometimes they need a little help with, how do I ask a friend to play? How do I ask a friend for a toy? Versus just taking that toy or maybe hitting a friend. And so we have some different things in place to help them with learning those skills because we all know in life you have to be able to get along with other people. That's probably one of the most important skills for success. And you all are here because you have some important characteristics. You like working with kids, you have the patience, empathy, and flexibility to work with the kids and to adapt to their needs. And you're able to follow the lead of a director or a counselor to help you provide the best support for the children. So if you are a team member, so if you are a counselor or a paid member of the program, this is very important. I know everybody's always wondering, when do we get paid? That's a big thing. So in this position, since it is a temporary part-time position, you are a 1099 independent contractor. So taxes are not withheld from your pay and you report your pay at the end of the year. So you'll get a 1099 form from our organization. You report that on your taxes and you will file it as a part of your taxes at the end of the year. So each week you'll complete a timesheet. We have uh, created a system where you will do that online and you'll have an opportunity to put in all your hours. Timesheets are due on Friday each week, and payday is the last day of each month, meaning if you're working in the summer, that means our first payday will actually be at the end of June, and then we'll have another payday at the end of July, and we have direct deposit. So if you are new to the program, you will work with me to set up the direct deposit. I'll send you some information so you can set that up so you'll be able to receive your payment through direct deposit. Okay, and then attendance. Of course, life happens, but if you are absent or need to be absent, I always ask like if you can give as much notice as possible, just because the kids we work with, consistency is everything. And so we really need a lot of, you can probably tell, we need a big team to support our children at this program to make sure they have a successful time. So make sure that you do report lateness or absence as soon as possible. The 778-2556 is a cell phone. You can text me, call me. You can also email. And so, of course, any hours that are missed due to lateness or absence are not paid for. Okay. All right. So I'm going to see, do you have any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. Wonderful. So something that you're going to really love, especially Miss Chelsea, who was here last year, you're going to really love this. So we've made some changes to our lesson plans, and going to actually show you some of the changes that we've made and how it will be structured for you as a counselor. So you'll be able to figure out what are you supposed to be doing for each day and at each time. And so I'm actually going to show you that. But I will mention, in order to make like a major change to any of the lesson plans, you have to receive approval. However, if you had like a small little thing that you wanted to do to your lesson plan, that doesn't need to be approved. You may come up with a good idea. Maybe the kids might come up with a good idea, and you may want to add something small, and that's okay. So okay, so I'm sharing the schedule of the day, and I will show you the kid version of this too. It has a lot of pictures. So some children will come in at 8 o'clock and leave at 3. Some will come in at 8 and leave at 6. Our program day runs from 8 to 6. And I know some people are working 8 to 3:30. Then I have some people that are only doing afternoon hours. And then I have people coming in during the middle of the day. So we've made it to where we have staff at different parts of the day. And so we have people that can come in, cover lunch breaks as needed. So here's our schedule. So at 8 o'clock, to about 9:15, we'll have children checking in. We serve breakfast, and they'll also be doing free play. And so that's where you might see those Uno cards come out, or board game, or some other activity that we have in the classroom. Some of the kids like to draw or just do some type of activity as they're waiting on our regular day to start. After that, we do our schedule review. We do something called checking my social battery, and then we review the rules. And I'll actually show you what those things look like. Then we do a Minecraft fitness run activity, kind of to let the kids get all their energy and jitters out. Then we do a social skills story. And so again, one of the things we're trying to reinforce is social skills. And I'm going to show you a sample of what these videos look like. We'll also have a daily enrichment activity, and I have different activities listed out on our lesson plan that you'll be able to see, like the kinds of things the kids are doing during each of those different blocks. We'll do outdoor play, then we'll have lunch, and then after lunch, we'll do free play, either outside or inside, inside or outside, depending on the weather. Then from 1 to 2, we'll do another enrichment activity. Then we will have a snack, and then the Minecraft store, which is the best part of all. So every child in our program gets something at the end of the day based on how well they've been able to follow the rules and practice their social skills. And so the kids that leave early, they'll get to go to our Minecraft store right before they leave. And then the kids that are here for half a day, they'll leave around between 2:30 and 3. Next, we get ready for our afternoon. So our kids that stay for the rest of the day, we're going to redo the morning routine. We're going to go back and check our social battery. We're going to review our schedule and review our rules. We'll do another fitness run just to get all the excitement and energy out. We'll do a little more Minecraft exploration, outdoor play, or inside play, depending on the weather. We'll do another snack. Then the kids that stay all day will get to go to our Minecraft store. And then finally, our day will end. And so I actually want to show you I want to show you what a Minecraft fitness run looks like. And there are a lot of these videos where there are a lot of different fitness run activities that the kids can do. It's almost like they're pretending to be in the video game. So I'm going to show it to you really quickly. And if you want to, you could pretend to do this while you're at home. Let's see. So you'll have a chance to see this. I don't know if I'm going to share the sound really quick to see if you can hear it too. All right, here it comes. So I'm not going to play the whole video, but I wanted to show you just what it looks like. So I want to ask you, so you notice we're doing these fitness runs like at the beginning of the day before we do some of our routine, and then we're going to also do it at a different part of the day. Why do you think we're doing this kind of activity? So it gets the kids up moving and running and gets them doing a lot of different things. So why do you think we might do that kind of activity? I'm gonna let you guess. So you're welcome to put it in the chat, or you can also, um, if you like, you can unmute your microphone and you can share what you think.
I feel like doing it multiple times a day will provide an opportunity for students that kind of I call them zoomies, when you get excited and you like can't hold it in anymore and you just have to let out that energy. And I think spreading it out allows everyone to kind of get a chance to get excited and calm down a little bit, but also be super excited about what they're doing. It's kind of like a fun way to do a little exercise.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So a lot of our kids, they have a lot of energy. Like we have kids who may stand up and eat. Some of them want to walk around and eat because they have all of that energy. And sometimes before we get them ready to do like a social skills story or something where they have to sit for a few minutes, it really does help to get them moving just a bit. I was going to show you some of our real life kiddos who have actually done this from our after school program. Let's see. Yeah, I'll share our Facebook page. I told you if you go there, you'll be able to see. So you can kind of see some of the kids. That's kind of what they're doing right now in this video. they're doing the fitness run and they're like basically doing, you can kind of see them jumping and moving over. So it's actually something that we've made as a part of our routine. And the kids discovered it last summer. And, as you're doing a program, you kind of find out what works, what doesn't work, what the kids like, what they don't like. So that's something we've decided to add. So that's our fitness run. And there are a lot of them. And for the counselors, you'll have like the list of videos with all the links where you can easily find those to be able to choose one to do at those different points. We have a fitness run. So the next thing I want to show you is checking the social battery, and we can each check our social battery. It's actually a video. So a lot of the opening activities that we do, they're actually videos that you'll play for the kids and pause at different points to get them to interact with the video. So I'm going to show you. We're going to do the social battery one. And there's some days I need to check my social battery just to see how am I doing today. So I'm going to cue it up really
Social
quick.
battery.
So give me 1 minute. I'm going to share so you can see the video and see what this is all about. I'll also share my sound with you. Okay, so here it goes.
Each day when I arrive, I get to think about how I feel. If my battery is almost empty, I may be very tired, grumpy, or sad. If my battery is almost empty, I don't want to play with anyone. I need quiet time to be alone.
Okay, so does anyone on the call feel like this? Does anybody have a number one battery that's almost empty?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So in the classroom, I'm doing this because when you're in the classroom, you're going to actually maybe stop the video to ask them, does anyone feel like this today? And some of them will say no or yes, or and then they might tell you why, and then continue.
If my battery is low, I may be a little tired, cranky, and not in the mood to play. If my battery is low, I may feel like doing an activity by myself for a while.
And so I'd stop it again and say, okay, does anyone have 2 battery bars?
If my battery is medium, I feel okay. I'm ready to hang out and play, but not too much and not too loud. I feel calm and friendly. If my battery is medium, I want to play with a friend and do something fun, but nothing too loud. If my battery is full, I am super happy, ready to play, and excited. If my battery is full, I feel like talking to friends and playing all day. The battery number.
So we play it, and sometimes, like I was showing you, I'll stop it at certain points and say, hey, how is do you have 1 battery bar, 2 battery bars? And we get a count of who has the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. Now this is the end. And so at the end, a lot of times I'll have the kids show me with their finger how many battery bars they have. So I'll let you all put it in the chat tonight. How many battery bars do you have? Are you down at the number 1? Are you all the way over at the number 4? Are you happy and excited today? Okay, so we got a 2, we have a 3, a 3. I think I'm about at a 3 because I'm super excited, but I'm super tired. Like we literally just had like all the excitement of graduation and ending the semester at the college. And then now like getting ready for everything else. I'm super excited, but I'm like, woo, I would love to have a day at the beach sometime soon. So I'm gonna ask y'all, why do you think we do this every day, every morning, and then again in the afternoon? Why do we check this?
I feel like it's helpful to know, how to go about different activities throughout the day. And it also makes everyone feel heard as well.
Absolutely. That is so true. If we know how people are feeling, we know what activities the kids might be ready for next, or if they maybe need a break, or if they just maybe need a moment And especially if you get a kid that walks in and they're on a 1, you kind of know we may need to prepare ourselves and prepare them to, transition into our day. So this is something that we will do every morning, and we'll also do it in the afternoon. And yes, so that's a good point. I see in the chat about how the kids' moods can change. So it's important to share, which is why we would like to also do it in the afternoon, because sometimes you just never know what happens during the day that could cause a child's mood to shift. And so, yeah, so we'll do that. And let's see, I promised you another video. So another thing that is a video this year is our rules. And I won't play the whole video, but I'm just going to let you see what it
Let's
looks
review the
like.
rules.
So we review the rules every day in Camp Summer Garden, because if we tell the kids once, they're probably going to forget it by the end of the week or by the end of the day. So we review it multiple times, and it's a little video.
Our rules help to keep us safe and happy. When we follow the rules, we can have a fun time playing together. Be kind and respectful to adults, students, in the classroom. Use nice words, share, listen, and take care of things around you. For example, if a friend drops their crayons, you can help pick them up. Say please and thank you, and treat your classroom like a special place. Use your words or signals to ask for help or express feelings. Speak up when you need something, or use a signal, like raising your hand or pointing.
So I'll pause it. I just want to show you our little rules video, and you'll notice everything has the Minecraft theme. And I'll say we've gotten a lot more high tech this year. So last year we used a lot more like paper, and we had this idea of like using the classroom projectors. But this year I'm going to give each counselor a laptop where you can actually review this information with your small group, because I think it might be a lot better than trying to have everyone trying to view it from the same computer. And it'll also help you with keeping track of your schedule with your individual small group. So that's that video. And so there are videos for all of our daily routines, like our rules, our social battery, also for our schedule. We also have a video that shows the different parts of the schedule that you'll be reviewing with the kids. There's also videos for the social skills stories, and I'll show you just a little excerpt. And all of these are already prepared, and I'll put them in a Google Drive so that you all will be able
Adventure
to,
Builder.
you'll be able to access the videos that you need for each of the days, and they'll be organized by day and by week. So I'll just show you really quickly. I'm gonna skip ahead on this video.
We can invite others to build with us by saying, "Want to team up?" We listen to our teammates' ideas. Maybe someone knows a great way to build a secret base or a giant tower. We share ideas kindly. It's okay if not every idea gets used. We're building together. When we build, we take turns and help each other.
So I'll stop that. So this is one of the videos for learning about taking turns and listening to other people's ideas. And so I'm going to actually go to our lesson plan, because it'll make more sense why we're talking about taking turns, why we are building and doing all these different things. So when you look at week 1, so you notice on the schedule, there were these different time blocks that were designated for enrichment activities for Minecraft. So week 1 is all about building block basics. So the kids will get a variety of building materials, like different types of blocks, whether they be Legos, small, large, magnetic. And each day there'll be something that they're building or that you will have them building. And for some of the days, there are different videos that you'll play for them to show them how to make different things, to give them ideas. Like for instance, there's one day where we're going to try to make the tallest tower possible using marshmallows, toothpicks, and spaghetti pasta, and giving them an opportunity to see how many of those they can build. And we did this in the after school program. And as you can imagine, the kids were like totally eating all the all the building materials, but we did make a few little buildings. And so every day during our building week, during that 9:50 to 10:50 block, there's a different thing that the children are building. And so you'll have a video to play for them to give them some ideas, and then they'll have the variety of materials they can play with. And of course, some children may not need that long to build. And so each classroom will, of course, have other types of activities if they finish early. Week 2, we're doing transportation and robotics. And so during that 9 o'clock block, they'll be doing a lot of other things. They'll be building boats, and there's materials and activities. So as a counselor, you'll have the list of activities that you need. You'll have a video of how to do it. And you'll also just have pretty much everything you need because all of the materials, everything's already written out for you. And this year, the way we have it organized, each classroom will have a storage closet with the materials that you'll need to gather for your different projects. We're going to use robots. I hope y'all have seen the line tracing robots. They're really cool. So we're doing that on the Tuesday. And I think that's so cool. I should actually show it to you. So our Facebook page has so much of our fun stuff that we do. So I'm looking for the video so I can share it with you really quickly. So you can kind of see some of the things we've done with these little robots. Here we go. I'm super proud of some of the ideas we've come up with over time. All right, here are the robots. So in this video, the kids built a variety of mazes and they were testing out which ones work better. So with these robots, there's a certain way you have to build the maze. The black lines have to be thick enough. They have to be flat to make the robot run properly. And so that's one of the activities that the children will get to do. And we have all these little different robots. They're not super high tech. They're not expensive robots, but they work pretty okay for the job that we're doing. And the kids really love those. We brought them out quite a few times in our after school program. We're going to build vehicles with moving wheels. We're going to make hot air balloons. So every day during our transportation day, during that 9 to 10:50, there's some type of transportation activity. Week 3, we're building with circuits, which is really cool. So we've been able to get a variety of circuit kits. I don't know if y'all have seen those electrical snap kits where you can build a radio, you can build a light, you can build all kinds of things. And so we have several of those where the kids get to work together and try to build some things. Like in our after school program, we actually built a radio and tuned it into like some of the popular radio stations, and we had a dance off, and it was so much fun. So we're going to do that during week 3, lots of engineering. Week 4, we're doing music of Minecraft, and it's so cool. And I have to show you one of the programs the kids will get to test out during week 4, and it's free. It's called the Chrome Music Lab. And so I'm actually going to show it to you really quick because you may want to play with it at home. I'll even put it in the chat in case you want to check it out. So I'm going to actually show it to you. And we've actually, I say we produced some of our own music during the after school program. It kind of felt like we were producing music. So I'm going to show it to you really quick. And here we All right, so this is our music lab, and it's pretty cool. So you can draw a design basically, and then you can add a little bit of drum beats there. And then guess what? You can press play. So anyway, we're going to try to make Minecraft music. And the cool thing about this is that you can actually save the music and copy the link, and the child can share it with their parents. I actually emailed some of the songs they created to their parents in the after school program. So that's just one of the programs that we're going to use for the summer time. And I'm working on getting one of our local music recording studios that works with children to come by and actually do a music unit with us during that week. So it may be one day, it may be 2 days, and I'll add it to our calendar. And we're going to make a water xylophone and create an egg shaker. And of course, like I said, if you like, let's say for instance, there's some cool musical item you know how to create with the materials we have. That's something that you could add to the lesson plan and also do during that musical block with them during that enrichment time. Ooh, week 5 is really fun. So who's done the baking soda and vinegar experiments? Has anybody ever done that? Okay. So Caitlin says yes. And let's see. Check in the chat. Okay, Chelsea has done it as well. So we're going to do a lot of fun things. So there's a way to inflate a balloon with baking soda and vinegar, like you create a chemical reaction. We did a lot of those in our after school program. We're going to make oobleck. If you haven't made it before, you're going to love it. And you're probably hearing some of these things are getting a little messy. Some of these will be outside activities. At our building, we also have an area near in the stairwell where there's like an open concrete area where we can also do messy play because we can easily clean it up. We're going to use Coca-Cola and Mentos and do an experiment. And so that's a week where we're going to do a lot of fun, kind of messy activities, but fun. Okay. And so that's all 5 weeks. And so you probably noticed on our schedule, we also have a 1 to 2 p.m. and a 3:25 to 4:25 enrichment time. And you're probably wondering, okay, so what are we going to do during those times? Well, I've created a whole list of possible activities that you could do on the computer or on the projector with the kids. You could do, there's all kinds of trivia games with Minecraft. There's matching. We have the Uno sets, bingo. We have different board games. Of course, they can play with the Legos or what other blocks we have. So there's a lot of different activities that they'll be able to do during those times. And that's where you get to choose what kind of activity you may want to do with them. It may be something in the classroom. It may be something on this list that I've created for you. And we're going to have some really fun activities that are going to come up. And these are going to happen during different weeks. And so I'm putting together a schedule of all the days. So we actually have a farm where the owner breeds different kinds of chickens. And she's going to bring those out for us during week 1. And we'll get to see the chickens. As I said, the Institute for the Music Business, the one that does the recording studio for kids, they're going to come by during our music week in July, still finalizing the dates. We have the UF Extension Office. They're going to do some food demonstrations for us during some of our enrichment blocks. And they will bring all the materials and supplies. As a counselor, you'll be there to, of course, support the children in participating. On Fridays, we're going to have Minecraft Movie Fridays. So I'll bring popcorn and we're going to be streaming the Minecraft movie. And after 5 weeks, they'll probably be tired of watching it. And this is totally new. So on Fridays, we're going to do water days from 1 to 3. So during one of our enrichment blocks where the college is allowing us to have sprinklers out in the grassy area in between our building and the student union. And we're going to see how fun it is. I guess we'll know from the first week that it's a go. We're also going to have a drone demonstration during week 2 of our camp. And we're going to have a visit from Jerry's Animals. So he has a variety of animals. We thought he has like a huge lizard that's going to come. And so during week 2, we're talking about transportation. And a lot of different types of transportation were inspired by animals, and that's kind of the connection. I thought that'd be kind of cool to get someone to come in and show us some cool animals. So I'm going to pause and let's see if you have any questions so far.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so you said on every Friday that we're gonna bring out the sprinklers, right?
Yes.
So who will help the children like change their clothes?
So we're hoping that they will be able to, because we still have that rule where we actually don't go inside the stall with the children or anything like that. So they would have to be able to change their own clothes in
Yes,
order
ma'am.
to
I
participate.
remember that rule. That's what made me ask. So, okay,
Yeah.
so say for instance, okay, so will you tell the parents that everyone has to, be potty trained and able to use the restroom on their own? Because the people that can't, they may feel secluded. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, you mean like if they're for the water day?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that is something that I am going to share with parents because I do give them the handbook to let them know that we're not able to like go inside the bathroom with the children at all. And so with us adding water day, I'll definitely have to emphasize that like we can't help them undress or get dressed or any of that, just for liability reasons.
Yes, ma'am. That was my only question.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good question. And you are right. We definitely have some little ones who may need a little more assistance, like some of our kindergartners, perhaps. But hopefully that won't become a barrier to them being able to participate. Hopefully they'll be able to. I guess a good thing would be like if their parents were coming to pick them up at 3 o'clock and then they
Yeah,
just,
that's what I was thinking. You could do like right before they get ready to leave, and their parents could help maybe.
yeah, and that could actually be, that could be something where, maybe parents are encouraged to pick their children up earlier on those Fridays if they are available, since those are going to be movie days and we're doing the sprinklers. So if we had a child who could not like get out of the wet clothes, their parent would be there to assist them. That's a good idea. So I think it's going to be really fun. We'll see. We wanted to do like a bounce house, and we did ask for permission, but unfortunately, the college they did not want to take on the additional liability. And while we have liability insurance, the college didn't want the additional risk because there's risk with everything. So we settled on the sprinklers. Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to share like some of our lesson plan information. And like I was saying, you will get a link to our Google Drive that has all of that information where you'll be able to access it and you'll be able to get that information as you need it while you're working during the day. So you'll know which videos you need, you'll know which activities you're doing for each of the days. So hoping that will make it just a little bit easier and smoother for you.
I
So I'm
have
going to
a
go back.
question
Okay.
as well. Sorry. I just
No.
wanted to kind of a follow-up question from what Chelsea was saying. Has there ever been a situation where a child did have an accident or they were having a hard time using the restroom on their own? How would you approach that since we're unable to help them with the restroom?
So yes, and that's a good question too, because last year we did have a child. So one of the problems we ran into, the college toilets flush really loudly. And some of the kids were scared to go in the bathroom or they were afraid to flush. And I remember one little student, she was just terrified of it. And so we started having her take headphones, like we have noise canceling headphones that she could take into the bathroom. And several of the kids did that. And for the other issues where they were really struggling, we actually give them guidance from outside the bathroom. Like we try to we can go in the bathroom. We're just not going in the stall. So we try to talk to them, ask them questions, try to give them verbal guidance to assist them with hopefully resolving their issue. I know Miss Chelsea, she had a group. So I don't know if you had any experiences that you want to share.
Relating to the restroom.
Yeah.
I think all my kids, they were able to use the restroom on their own. But I took one the pretty little girl, I forgot her name. But she wasn't able to like flush the toilet or whatever. So I did stand in the restroom with them, but I didn't stand in the stall with her. And I just let her come out and I flushed the toilet on her own, for her. And I just made sure she washed her hands or whatever. So you
Yep.
can go in the restroom, you just can't go in the stall with
In the
them.
stall. Yep. And that's right. And like you said, like she had left the stall and you just went in and flushed it. And that's totally fine. That's no problem. Another thing that I've seen come up with the restroom, we did have a student who he really like he wouldn't go to the restroom and sometimes he would actually wet himself. And so we tried to take him more often. And sometimes that worked and sometimes it did not. So that's sometimes an issue. Sometimes we have had, I can think of two kids who kind of just were a little nervous of going to the bathroom. And so we really had to encourage them and do those regular bathroom breaks.
I was gonna say, is there like throughout the schedule, because we do have plenty of time, like during, like you said, enrichment time, and I'm sure that transition between activities, we can do like, oh, does anybody need to use the restroom? And like
Mhm.
we can do like in elementary school when you do the lineup outside the bathroom and everyone takes a turn to make them feel comfortable. And I think maybe they just felt nervous being the only one going. Is that a possibility as well?
Yes, that's what we
Yeah.
did last year. We
Okay.
Mhm.
frequently asked everyone if they have to go, and we'll, let them line up and go to the restroom.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, yes. And some little friends, the bathroom became a field trip. I can think of a few friends where I was like, oh, we're going on vacation. Let's go. So, because the bathroom is down at the end of the hallway, and we always have to go with the children because, we're in a college, we're in an open college setting. So we're always with them. But a couple friends, I think they thought it was a field trip, like, yay, let's go. You probably know who I'm talking about. Some of our friends. Oh, boy. But yeah. Every group is interesting. They each have their a unique personality, each group. And this group will be very interesting as well. But we try to accommodate as much as possible and plan as much as possible. Okay. So you've had a chance to see the lesson plan. So I think this part makes more sense now about if you wanted to make a change to the lesson plan. So you all were talking about how, hey, maybe my enrichment period, I don't need a whole hour. So yeah, you could take a bathroom break during that time. And more than likely, you may have kids who want to go to the bathroom, especially after we've had breakfast or something like that. And also, you can bring your ideas. Like if you have an activity in addition to what we're doing and we have materials for it, you may have something that you want to show the kids that align with the theme as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back into more of the HR, human resources type stuff. So we all have to pass a level 2 background check. Those of us who have already been in the program, we've already passed the level 2 background check, and I know some are still doing that. I run everybody through the National Sex Offender Public website check, as well as we collect an affidavit of good moral character, just affirming that you have not committed any crimes that would exclude you from working with children. And the I-9 form, that's more of the payroll type information that will be done online. So you'll get a link to be able to complete that information, unless you already have it set up from last year. Our dress code is pretty simple. I pretty much ask that you definitely don't have to wear like professional dress, but just nice casual. A lot of times what I wear like a Minecraft t-shirt and some jeans, and my name tag. I always say closed-toe shoes because toes will get stepped on. Your pants or jeans shouldn't have holes. And then if you're going to wear shorts, just make sure they're an appropriate length because it is hot. I know it's Florida. And just keeping a nice, neat, professional appearance. Okay, cell phone use. So if you have a personal call or text message, that's something that you would need to step out of the classroom for because we don't want to have calls and texts while we are caring for the children. With that being said, I do welcome you to take pictures of the kids to share to our Google Drive so that we can collect pictures of the kids having fun. And with the cell phone policy, like I realize life happens. You may have a call, you may have children that are away from you at the time, and it's perfectly fine to let someone know, hey, I need to step out and take a call, or I need to step out and take a text message. That's perfectly fine. Okay, no alcohol, drugs, or tobacco. Okay, we have a materials and sharing policy. So you will have access to the videos and different information for Camp Summer Garden. And that information is only to be used for our program, not shared, not used outside the program. And let's see what's next. And so there are some policies around attendance. So dismissal policy would include, like, if someone was a total no call, no show, like if I had to try to figure out where you're at and you didn't show up or didn't call or anything. Excessive absences and tardies, as you can understand, we work with a very unique population of children. Consistency is everything. And with this being said, like if you have something that happens in your life, like you get sick or you have a situation where you have a sick child or something like that, those are all excused reasons to be absent. So of course, if you have something in your life that comes up, please just contact me, let me know. And that's something that we can work with. But this is specifically for like just not showing up at all or just being excessively absent or tardy. Just another thing, not using any harsh tones or intimidating language to anyone, not to the children, families, or staff. Something that you'll learn about Camp Summer Garden, like we don't yell at the children. That's not a way that we discipline or work with the kids. Of course, no physical aggression, no inappropriate physical contact, making sure that the kids are not left alone. They're always supervised, not bringing bad items, not breaching confidentiality. Our families trust us, so we always want to make sure we don't share their personal details or information with anyone. And then another thing, just following the safety protocols and program policies just to make sure we're keeping everyone safe, being respectful, honest, and cooperative. And then just making sure that you properly use all program materials, equipment, or facilities. And these are things like we have not had problems with, but we are required to have policies around different things. And, I always hope none of these things ever come up. So working with children, this is one that's important. You are a mandatory reporter. And so if you know of a child being abused or neglected or abandoned, or if you suspect that that has happened, we are required to report it to the Florida Department of Children and Families. If we are required to make a report, I can assist you with doing it online, or we can make the phone calls together, but that is something that we are required to do in the state of Florida as mandatory reporters. So we will also have a camera in each classroom. It'll be strategically placed where we are able to monitor the classroom and report any safety concerns that we have. And of course, safety and supervision is very important. The children are not allowed to leave the classroom on their own, like even to go to the bathroom, because again, we're at an open college campus. Anybody can walk into our college campus, so we always have to accompany the kids. Volunteers have to always be with a team member, like a camp counselor or other team member while supervising the kids. If there's ever a time that a child has an injury or illness, even if it's something small, we are required to document it on our accident incident form, which you will have. Each team member or team counselor will have a binder that will have accident forms that you can complete if needed. Okay, so this was what we already talked about the bathrooms. We don't go inside the stalls. We can go to the restroom. We can go inside. We just don't go inside the stall. And if a child has difficulties, we can provide verbal guidance as needed. Okay, so any kind of discipline that is given should not be frightening, humiliating. It shouldn't be associated with food, rest, or toileting. So we can't deny a child snack or the ability to take a break or go to the bathroom if they did something. Of course, no physical punishment, no yelling, harsh tones. We also can't completely withhold a child's active play if they misbehave. And I think that's more so for us because children who have a lot of energy, who don't get to go play, they find other ways and other places to play, probably where they shouldn't be. And they can, so sometimes it makes a even bigger issue. So we try to avoid that. And then this is something that I often tell people to think about when we're looking at the children's behaviors, the ABC. And I'll ask, is this familiar to you, seeing the ABC chart? Maybe you've seen it or used it in the past.
I've seen something similar, but I don't think it was like the exact same format, but the idea behind it is similar to what I've seen previously.
Okay, wonderful. So it's almost so when something happens, we usually try to look and see, okay, well, what happened right before the child did whatever the behavior was? And then we'll also look immediately after the behavior and see maybe what happened as a result. So for instance, I'll give you an example. We had a child in the program last year. He would try to run out of the classroom, and sometimes maybe someone would look at, like one of the kids would look at him in a way he didn't like, or they would say something to him or take a toy away. And so that would be the antecedent. That was what would happen beforehand. And his behavior is that he would try to run out of the classroom. And the consequence, what happened after that behavior, well, a lot of times he ended up getting one-on-one time with the teacher, or he got an opportunity to, um, sometimes even get away and have time to himself. And I think he enjoyed that part of it, just being able to escape and get away. And so I think when you're looking at behavior, it is important to think about maybe what caused it, but also think about what the child got out of it, because sometimes looking at both of those things can help you to figure out how to resolve a challenging behavior with a child in the program. So that's one of the things that we talk about and look at. So we view behavior as communication. That's something that you will notice that we talk about a lot. And sometimes the children may display challenging behaviors, but usually there's something that they're trying to tell you, and maybe they don't have the language for it. The same child that I was just telling you about who would try to run sometimes. I remember one day I finally got him to use our picture visual to try to see if he could tell me with the visual and point to one of the pictures to show me what he needed. He was thirsty that day. He simply just wanted water. But he had learned, if I don't have the words, if I cannot communicate, I can run. And so helping him to choose a different form of communication is one of the things that we started trying to do with him. So challenging behaviors will occur, but I will say we try to focus on preventing them. That's why we try to keep the low ratios. That's why we have the structure that we have. That's why we try to keep consistency with everyone that works with the program, because those are all things that we try to put in place to prevent some of the challenging behaviors. Sometimes, though, no matter what you do, there's going to be a challenging behavior. I have an example where last year I made a mistake and I accidentally gave one of the children, we had Lunchables one day, and there was one of them that had a cookie that was a different color than the cookies of the other friends. And the child had a complete meltdown because his was different. And like, I make those mistakes too. If I had thought about it a little bit better when I was passing them out, I may have paid close attention to passing out the ones that all look the same and perhaps prevented it. But so it's things like consistency, paying attention to those details that do help with preventing some of the challenging behaviors. Okay, so during the day, just some guidance strategies that you'll use. We'll always have a visual schedule. Like I showed you what the schedule looks like for you as an adult, but there's a child version that has pictures of every part of the day. We use timers to let the children know, like when we're doing those enrichment blocks, you can set a timer on your laptop that you'll be using or on your cell phone with a 5-minute timer so they know, hey, in 5 minutes, we're going to be finished. Breaking down tasks into smaller pieces, like if you have something that you want the kids to do, giving them the instructions in a more simplified format. We also have a system of rewarding the kids. I think I told you we have the Minecraft store where each day they get to buy items from our store. And just one of the other things is just seeing the kids when they're doing something well, giving them feedback and praise for doing something well. And giving sensory breaks. That's the idea behind the Minecraft fitness runs, is getting the kids up and moving and helping them get some of that energy out during the day. So another thing that you'll see in our classroom is the safe space tents. And we had those last year, and I quickly realized that we're going to have to invest in a lot more of the tents because they became very popular for the children. And I also realized like some of the kids, would maybe take like, oh, they're going to take food or a snack in there and just hang out. And so I think we're going to have to invest in more of those. But it was basically just a little tent where the kids could go in and just kind of take a break. It's not a timeout spot, but they can go inside the tent if they just needed to get away from all the sensory stimulation. And that was probably one of the most popular items we had at the camp, is those little tents. And I've already told you about the Minecraft store. This year, I really simplified it. So we've got a simple set of rules that you'll be reviewing with the kids every day. And as a counselor, you'll easily be able to decide if a child has demonstrated positive behavior and fully engaged all day. If so, they get to pick 2 items from the store. A child who has struggled with the behavioral expectations, they can still go to the store, but they only get 1 item from the store. So everybody will get something, but it will definitely depend on their behavior as to who gets 2 items versus 1. I've already talked to you about privacy and confidentiality, just making sure we don't disclose the children's information to anyone outside the program. And so I'll pause real quick to see if you have any questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Will I have to complete another background check?
No, actually, you're fine. You have the one from last year, so you should be fine.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so the next thing is we are, as a part of our little handbook, I have just some little tips on supporting children with autism. And I'm just going to go through these really fast. Something I do want to add, these tips work for everybody. Anything that you are doing in this program will work for any child. Like I think about myself, I don't have autism, but I love a good visual schedule. I love knowing what to expect next. I love walking into work and having my little checklist and to-do list. And I'm sure a lot of us are like that. And so all of these supports are good for all of the children in our program. So I'm going to give you a few tips for communication. Always speaking calmly and just using direct, concrete phrases. And I often say what you mean what you say, whatever it is. And with children with autism, a lot of times they don't really engage with like figurative language or slang or things like that. So just being very direct in your speech. If you give instructions, just make sure they're very simple and don't have more than 2 steps. So I need you to take this box of Legos and place them on the table. That's about as complicated as you want to make it, because the more steps that you add to the instructions, the more of an overload the child might have, and they may not be able to do what you're asking them to do. Don't use phrases that have more than one meaning, like cut it out, or just any kind of slang or figurative language. Those don't work well with children with autism. Also, avoid touching. If necessary, gesture or gently guide the child. Like if there's something they're not doing, like if at all possible, try not to have to, move them to another spot. Now, the only exceptions to this is if you have a situation where a child is going to hurt themselves or someone else. Like we had some kids that they started hitting each other, and so we did have to get in between those kids to separate them so that no one got hurt. But that's usually like last resort, and only if you're in a situation where someone is going to get hurt. Setting clear expectations and boundaries, like letting the children know what to do. That's a part of all the visuals that we have and all the videos. That's why we have all of those, to show them what we expect or what we need them to do. And just being consistent. That's one of the things about attending regularly, being at the sessions that you signed up for, because that consistency really matters. Like the kids in our program, if something changes, whether it be a person or something just feels weird or out of place, it can impact their behavior. So we try to be as consistent as possible and prepare them for what's coming as much as possible. Developing and implementing structure. We do that with our daily schedule. And then using a lot of repetition. So you probably notice our videos that we'll do every single day, where we're checking their social battery, we're going over the rules, we're going over the schedule. That repetition is going to help them with being able to get the routine and hopefully start to learn some of the skills that we're giving them. Offering a preferred seating spot or allowing additional time for a response. This is really helpful, like for children who, for instance, maybe they want to sit on the floor and build their item for the day. Or maybe they want to sit in one of the tents and build their item for the day. Sometimes they may need a different space outside of just sitting at the table. So having that flexibility. Being aware of their sensory needs. I think I told you earlier, we have friends that didn't like the sound of the toilet flushing, like it really scared them. And so we had to allow them to take the noise canceling headphones to the bathroom. And sometimes the kids need the headphones in the classroom because it may get too loud. So we have those available. Trying to avoid or prepare for triggers or unexpected changes. This is why, if at all possible, we try to communicate. If we know, hey, I'm going to be out this next day. Of course, sometimes it's unavoidable. You may have something that's an emergency that comes up, but we try to warn them as much as possible, because they notice everything. Like we had an autism consultant come in. We actually made like a picture and we showed the children, hey, she's going to be coming in to see us. Just to help them with being able to prepare for that change and difference. Giving them breaks if needed. Sometimes the kids may need that break to shake the wiggles out, or, just stand up and walk, or whatever it is to get themselves back. And then just rewarding when they are displaying positive behaviors and trying to really highlight those times when they're doing good things, because that's going to encourage them to want to do more. Using their interest as motivation. There's a child in our program, he loves drawing. He would probably draw all day if he could. He draws very well. And so that's an interest that he has. And so that's something that you could use to help him with maybe learning some of the social skills or learning some of the things we're trying to teach. So maybe we could get him to draw pictures for his friends as a nice gesture. But whatever their interests are, trying to use that as a way to help them. And then just promoting acceptance and understanding, which is what we do by talking about the children that we'll be working with and preparing for this experience before we go into it. So supporting social development with role playing, modeling, rewards. So that's a part of why we do our social skills stories. So they'll see all these little stories about Minecraft characters taking turns, being friends, you know, sharing ideas, all of those things. We'll be providing organizational supports like the schedule, lots of visuals that you'll be sharing with them. And this is a really good one. When you're playing like certain types of games with the kids, I've noticed sometimes you have to give them direction on maybe where to stand or sit so that they don't bump into each other, especially when they're doing like the Minecraft fitness run, giving everyone enough space so that they're not bumping into each other and actually giving them some guidance on that. Using pictures to support what you're saying, and we'll use a lot of pictures that goes along with our visuals. Because sometimes kids who have trouble with language, giving them more words does not help them communicate more, but showing them pictures or giving them another way to communicate can be super helpful. And we already looked at the ABC model. Okay. And if you ever have any concerns, questions, comments, you can always direct those to me. Like, even if you see something that we're doing at the camp and maybe you have an idea on how we might be able to do it better, I will say, like, the team last year gave a lot of really good ideas, and we made, you know, some changes even throughout the weeks that we were together, just things that they noticed that maybe I hadn't seen. So I'm very open to feedback about everything we can do to make the program better. So I definitely encourage you to provide that. So I'm going to see if you have any questions. Okay, so I'm going to find our agenda real quick again. Bring it back up to see what our last few things are that we're going to talk about before we prepare to leave. Here we go. All right. So, if you already have a background screening on file, you're not required to get fingerprinted again. Once we have your fingerprints, we are able to like rerun prints and do that as needed. So your fingerprints are good for 5 years, so you don't have to get rescanned again. So yay. But if you are here for the first time, you will be receiving some outreach about getting your background check scheduled. The good thing about it, our vendor will actually come to your location. She actually came to my house over the weekend to scan my teenager. He's 16, and he'll be at the camp. And she's been doing some other background checks for some of our other team members, and it's super convenient for her to just, she'll come to your house. It takes about 30 minutes. I send you a form that you show to her with all of your information, and it's really quick and easy. So some next steps, I am setting up a Google Drive with all of our lesson plans. So you'll have all of the lesson plans, the videos, the information that you'll need. You'll have that prior to our first day. You'll also be assigned to one of our classrooms. So we have 2 classrooms in the HSS building, and you'll be assigned to a group of children. And so what I will ask, if you have an age group preference, if you can email me. I can't guarantee that you will get that age group, but I will try my best to consider your request as much as possible. We're doing a classroom setup day that is optional. However, if you are available on Friday, May the 30th, I have not set the times yet, but I will be at the college setting up the classroom. So whenever we get in on Monday, we'll have everything ready to go. If you have not done so already, you will be receiving information in the coming weeks about setting up your direct deposit. And I think I had classroom setup day on there twice. And I'll also be inviting you to do some online trainings. They are trainings that you can do at your own pace. They're all online, they are free, and they're part of being in Camp Summer Garden. So I have specific ones that I assign to you, and you'll be able to do those on your own time at your own leisure. And you may be working on those probably over the course of the next month, just trying to finish. But it's just additional information about working with children with special needs. And I think that is it. So I'll see if you have any questions. I think I'm looking in the chat. Okay, yes, you are welcome to call at the end of this Zoom, and I will take your information for your background check. So I'm gonna actually stop our recording.